Have you ever made a new YouTube channel? I needed a logo. I didn't know anybody who could do it for you. Well, who needs other people when you can just do it yourself?
Wait a minute!
So in order for us to be able to make our own logo in Gimp, the first thing you will need is Gimp and Gimp only. So it's very simple. Just load up Gimp and you're good to go. For sake of example, we're going to be creating our image at 800 by 800, but you can be any size that you would desire. Make your background transparent and you're good to go. Now that your background is set to transparent, what we're going to want to do is grab our rectangle select tool, which is up here in the top left corner, select rounded corners, and change the radius to a decent amount of size. You can change it to your liking. We are going to use about 50 pixels or so. So when you have the size you want, you're going to select the gradient tool and choose the two colors you want. Due to the fact that our logo is blue, we are going to make our logo, well, blue. So then you're just going to want to simply drag it down. But because I have selected the darker color as the foreground, I'm going to select this so that it does it backwards, and the top will be the lighter portion. When you have your colors selected and you're good to go, you like it, you're going to need to go to Select, Shrink, and we are going to shrink this by about 10 pixels. That'll be good for our liking, but the size of your image will change, so 10 is good for us, and that's how it's going to stay. So now that we have this done, we are going to make our thing black, and we're going to change this back to normal, and I'm going to set the gradient to foreground transparent. And then I'm going to go down here and change the zoom to 25%. I'm going to press Control to make the line straight, and I am going to create a gradient. For the best effect, I do recommend setting it to radial. This step is only optional, and you don't really need to do it. Plus, if you do it, it can be overdone, and it'll look really sloppy. What you're going to want to do now is grab your elliptical select tool, and we're going to create a new layer. And on this layer, we are going to just fill it all in black. Select the Fill Hole Selection tab and then just fill it all. Then we're going to set the opacity of this to 0 so that we can have it for future selection. Then we're going to create another new layer. And on this layer, we're going to make a nice glossy finish on the top of our button. So what we're going to want to do is we are going to want to grab our Merge with Current Selection, which is right here. And we are going to want to merge these two together and make it look nice. About this much should do. Then we're going to go back to our gradient tool, and we're going to zoom out just a tiny bit, and then simply just make it look like that. And now, this will create a very nice effect on your button. You can make this bigger or smaller, whatever you wish. If you want, you can go over it again. In my case, I'll do it just for the sake of example. I want a tiny bit bigger, but I'm going to reduce the opacity on this layer to make it less awesome. So, we're going to want to create a new layer for our second glossy finish because we do not want to merge the two together in case we need to change it. So I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to just do this. Select none. And that already looks good to me. I'm going to tone down the opacity a bit because the top layer seems just a bit much to me. Oh, about 76% will do. This has created a very nice finish. But wait, Ethan, aren't you forgetting something? Why, yes I am. We need the text, don't we? For the sake of demonstration, we're not using anything special. All we're going to use is a simple text with our initials, CT. So what we're going to want to do is first set this layer to overlay. This will make the text seem as though it fits right in there. Put it below all the other layers. And now we're going to go to light and shadow, drop shadow, and we are going to modify this a bit. So we are going to set this to 0, this to 2, 2, and then just hit OK. Then we are going to do another drop shadow of the original layer. This time, we are going to set it to -2, -2, and set the color to white. Set all of the layers to overlay, and then tone down the opacity as you wish. This will create the effect as though the button is pushed in. However, we're not done. We still need to give it a tiny bit more of a pressed in effect, so what we are going to do is alpha the selection, the original layer, create a new layer from it, put it below all the other layers, just on top of the original button layer, and we are going to expand the selection. So we're going to go to Select, Grow, and we are going to grow this by about 10 pixels. Then we are going to grab our tool here, and we are just going to give it a nice bit of gloss there. So when we select none, it's gonna look decent, but it still looks a bit meh. So what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna want to set that layer to overlay, and then we're gonna go to filters, blur, Gaussian blur, and this will create a nice effect as if it's pushed in, but very subtly pushed in. It also gives the effect that the text is glowing, and it looks really nice. When you have your button looking the way you want it to, all you have to do is just save the file and you're good to go. Anyways, stay tuned on the channel, don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.